Let's meet first presenting today, DD-MOff from Chile. We have Andrea Moore, Allison Scheuch. I think I did that last part right. Thank you. And we also have Trinidad Schlotterbeck.
Good morning. My name is Trinidad from Chile, and I'm going to present DD-MOff. It is a natural product to avoid the spread of the algae Didymo by disinfecting implements outside rivers and lakes. I would like to start my presentation asking you all if you do fishing here. Great. Let me tell you that the image you're seeing now, it's affecting recreational fishing. And believe it or not, that algae called Didymo is affecting already Virginia, and specifically the Smith and the Jackson River. This algae is called Didymo, and it has the ability to grow in freshwater rivers and low nutrient concentration. It has the ability to form branching stalks that covers the bottom of the rivers, and that modifies the characteristics of the waters. Specifically, pH is changed. Also, there's a reduction in the nutrient concentration. And for worse, there's a reduction in the oxygen availability. Of course, this is causing that biodiversity is being in danger. Specifically, the trout population. We have the problem that there's a 44% of reduction in the growth of the trout population. And also, there's an increase in 50% in the trout disease. This is affecting tourism significantly, specifically the recreational fishing. First, because fishing population is lower, so it's difficult to do the activity. Also, because rivers look disgusting, and you saw in the image. And for worse, people avoid visiting contaminated rivers because they prefer the one that don't have Didymo. Considering this problem, have you ever wondered about the true value of wild fishes? Wild fishes are not only valuable when they are caught, there's also a value in all the things you need to do the fishing. Let's do an activity. Imagine you go to a fishing day. You at least need a rod and a hook. Maybe a guideman or a boatman is going to do your day better. Then, after all the day doing exercise, the best prize is going to a restaurant. So the chef, the bartender, and the cashier are all benefit because you decided to go fishing. What if you decide to go to another country? You need an airplane or a hotel. So all this value represents $140 billion of market around the world. And this really impacts if we consider that 140 million people practice recreational fishing around the world. Specifically, in the case of the US, 39 million people practice it today annually. And now Didymo is being affected by other 83 countries around the world, not only the US, but also my country and all over the world. I would like to point out New Zealand, that it's a good example, because they have estimated a loss of $300 million in 8 years. They received it in 2004, and before that, it was only in Scotland and Norway, the native places. And that was the first time it got to the southern hemisphere and out of the native range. The problem that this algae has is that it resists 40 days outside streams because it has the ability to be alive in damp and cool environment for 40 days. So let's see this animation. You go to a river, and within a month, you go to another one, and Didymo grows in the other river. And that can also happen in another country. So you take it with your implements. The current solution to avoid the spread of the algae is by the worldwide program called Check, Clean, and Dry. Check is by removing all the blams that are in the implements that were in contact with contaminated waters. Cleaning is disinfecting with chlorine or detergent all the implements that you used in big bins. And for worse, you have to wait 48 hours to do the cleaning because you have to avoid the damp and cool environment that resists the algae from living 40 days. But what really motivated us, here you can see a man that is cleaning himself, is that in Chile, solutions are not working at all. Because what you're seeing now is the map of the Patagonia in 2011. The red dots were the affected zones. In 2012, red dots has almost doubled. So that represents that solution is not working at all. And for worse, estimations have shown that there is a loss in $40 per visit when rivers have Didymo against the one that don't have. But here is where we come in. We have developed DD-MOff. It is a natural product to avoid the spread of the algae Didymo by disinfecting implements outside rivers and lakes. We have developed a 500 millimeter spray that you apply it to the implement, and in just 15 minutes, Didymo is dead. So our system is really easy. Step one, anglers have to buy our spray bottle for just $10. Step two, they have to apply it to all the equipment that they are using. So here we avoid the problem of the 48 hours, and they can go in the morning and at the afternoon fishing without any concern that they are spreading the algae. Also, they are not using any more toxic products. So the third step is that they go easy and happy to fish again without any concern that they are propagating the Didymo algae. We have our lab tests that show the efficacy of our product. These are microscopic pictures that before we apply the product, red cells are red because they absorb the red colorant we added to the water. That shows they are alive. After 15 minutes of DD-MOff, red cells are transparent because they didn't absorb the red colorant because they were dead. So our product is working after 15 minutes. With our prototype, we went to validate our product, and we interviewed 100 people in the Patagonia of our country that it's already affected with Didymo. 80% of them showed interest in using our product, mainly because of the easy and rapid application. Our interviews were conducted mainly to anglers, fishing lodge, and store owners. And also because they were willing to pay the $10 we have estimated for our product. So considering we have our first prototype, here is where Virginia Tech Knowledge Works come in. We need those $25,000 to do the registration process. We have to do the health process and also the patent one. By having that steps, we move on to Chile, that it's the market we understand. But that doesn't stop us to move to Argentina, that it's a country just beside us, that receives 4 million anglers annually, mainly from the US and Europe, because of the inverse seasonality. And then we move on to the US, that it's the main country that practices recreational fishing here, and I have mentioned before, they have 39 million anglers. We believe we have the team to achieve this. Andrea Moore is an environmental engineering expert in recreational fishing, and she's going to be in charge of marketing and sales. Alison is a chemical engineering, and she has experience in producing natural products for the trout company. So she's going to be in charge of producing the product. I myself, and I'm industrial engineering, and I'm going to be in charge of managing this company because I have done some others similar before. But what we need to complement our team is a brand manager from Argentina and the US that help us enter our product to those countries that we don't understand that much. We already have established some partnerships. The first one is a toll manufacturing company that is going to produce our product massively when we need so. We also have established relationships with a fishing store, the biggest one in Chile, called Fly Shop, so they are willing to sell our product. And also a trout company in the south that is very concerned about the environmental impact. But the main one is the Chilean government support we have, specifically the environmental ministry, that because they know the current solution is not working that good, they believe in our product to solve the problem. So, moving on to the scalability. For the first year, we need those $25,000 to do the registration process. As we have those papers, we move on to Chile. That is the first country we enter. And there is where we reach our first market to start training with these cells. Then we move on to Argentina, where we get our break-even of the company. And by year 4, we enter the US. I would like here to mention that we know registration in the US is quite complicated, so we have 4 years to go on with that. By year 4, we are selling a total amount of 600,000 units. That just represent 1% of the total people that's being affected because of Didymo in all those countries. So by year 4, we reached the $1 million market of our company. We want to avoid that national parks like Torres del Paine look as beautiful as this, and we want to show you a video that is looking how Chile is now.
¿Afectaría el turismo que está en vía de desarrollo aquí en la comuna balena?
Ahora, lamentablemente, con esto de que declararon plaga el sector de Futaleufú, el río Colón y el río Futaleufú, la verdad es que los posibles pescadores desaparecieron.
Todo lo que estamos haciendo es para no seguir contaminando otros cuerpos de agua. Esa es la misión de todo esto, que no se contamine el resto de la Patagonia o que no se contamine hacia el norte, que no se vaya. Aquí ya está, no podemos hacer nada, pero tenemos que hacer un cuadrante firme y seguro para no contaminar otras aguas.
So to finish, we want to help in that cause. With Didymo, we want to stop this spread in our country and also around the world. Thank you.
Questions from the judges?
Thank you. That's a very nice presentation. Of course, I'm aware of algae problems, but I had not heard of this particular type of algae. How aware are anglers, fishermen of this particular type of algae, and are they aware that they need to do something about to help the problem? Because they're your market.
The government is giving pamphlets to people to informate them. And the people who fish is really concerned about this type of things because they are affected directly. So they know about it. The people who is fishing, they mainly know about the problem.
Is there an opportunity where the government would actually require all fishermen to use your product?
Yeah, it's the opportunity. We have to talk to them. And now they put some big beans and chlorine in Chile to do for the people to practice fishing so they can clean herself, but they are not so well maintained, so it's a problem.
Okay.
Congratulations, very, very nice presentation, very professional, thank you. I would just like to ask if you guys had thought about the capital cost. How much money will you need in order to get the product into market?
As I mentioned during the presentation, the first thing is doing the registration. There are like 2 areas, the health one, that in Chile it costs about $12,000 because our product is being used with a natural product, so we just have to register the new use. The other one is $10,000 of the patent process. And then what we need to start operating is $100,000 for the first year as we are just getting sales. So that's like the total amount of money we need to get started. Yeah.
Nice presentation, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask also about the nature of the competition here. Obviously, you've got competition in the form of people doing nothing, but is there something in your product that can be patented or protected? And if so, what is the opportunity there?
So, as I mentioned, the current use is the check, clean, and dry program. So what they do is they disinfect with chlorine or detergent, and then they wait 48 hours at the sun. That is the program that gives the different governments. It's done in New Zealand, also in the US, in Chile. And compared to our product, the difference is that they don't have to wait 48 hours, just 15 minutes. And also, they are using toxic products. And what anglers are mentioning is that they are feeling that their waders lose the waterproof capacity. So that's also a comparison. And that we're using natural product. So yes.
Could you talk about the nature of the product? I mean, it's interesting to me that I assume that the current, you said chlorine, so I assume the current treatment is bleach. So if this is, it seems like this would be a pretty powerful herbicide. So could you just talk about the safety of it? I know you say it's natural, but certainly some of the most heinous poisons in the world are natural products. So talk about the nature of the product and how it actually works.
Well, we can't reveal the natural product, what are we using, but in Chile we have the capacity to extract it. It's a natural extract, but we can, because we are starting the patent process, so we can reveal any more information. So sorry.
So is it an herbicide that works for other things? So if you sprayed it on your houseplants, would they die?
We have tried in cells of Didymo and in little fishes, and it only kills cells Didymo. So
I would like to complement that answer. The natural product we're using, the main one, it's already approved by the Public Health Institute in Chile, and it's included in the food and beverage industry as a complementary ingredient. So there shouldn't be a problem. And also we have done some toxicological products at the lab in Chile with zebra pieces, fishes, and snails, and it's okay. So maybe that answers your question. I'm sorry we cannot reveal the natural product.
You are applying the product to the equipment and to the boots of the anglers. So is it corrosive to the boots or the fishing tackle?
Yeah, we already tried it when we went to Patagonia in Chile, and it didn't affect the clothes. Also, the pictures that you saw in the microscope were applied to the cloth. So what we did was step the cells of the Didymo, apply the product there, and then see what happened. And we didn't find any difference in the clothes. So we shouldn't have any problem with that.
How did you come up with the $10 pricing?
In our testing there, we started they started asking us what was the amount of sprays they could do. And we got to a number that it was $0.6 per visit when you disinfect all your equipment. So that was, for them, was fine. And then we calculated the amount of fishing trips they do when they go for example, fishing week, and it's about 20. So that took us to a 500 millimeter bottle and ended in $10. And we then validate that amount, and they were willing to pay that, considering the equipment is much more expensive. So that was the way we got to the price.
Have you done any testing on the shelf life of the product?
That's a good question. We just started trying the product like 5 months ago. So until now, the stability of the product is tested the 5 months we have done it, but we have to continue to do it. What we know is that the product that is being used now for the food and beverage is it has stability for 2 years. So we believe our product is going to be similar.
Right now, you're using the product as a preventative measure. What about treating the streams that are already contaminated? Is that possible?
Today, the only solution is check, clean, and dry, and with our solution. But we are looking further to make some product to be included in the clothes, like a waterproof, but against Didymo. And the next step is to find a solution to include in the streams to kill the algae in the streams. So we are looking to that to R&D project.
Okay, several questions from the audience. Actually, that was one of the questions, was preventative. I think that just seeing how much it is spread, that would seem like a good thing to do, is try to see how you can do to kill it in existing streams. How are the anglers motivated to buy your product? Are there awareness campaigns that are planned, for the various countries?
As they already know today, the Check, Clean, and Dry program, that it's much more difficult than what we are doing. Yeah, they are aware of the method they have to clean it. So Didy-MOff will solve their problems because it's not going to be so difficult as it is being now.
Okay. And have you had any customers?
We haven't had customers yet. We just took free samples when we did the interviews, so they tried it for free.
Mm-hmm. And you said that, this is my question, you said that you think you can sell a bottle for about $10?
Yeah.
Roughly, what is the cost of the material there? So what is your margin on the product?
The cost is $6 to produce the bottle with the main ingredients and the distribution marketing. And if we sell in $10, we have a profit margin of 40%.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
So, do we know that it is spreading because of the fishing, or is it spreading on its own without the fishing? And how do we know?
That's a good question. The experts, as I showed in the image of the effects in the trout population, have discovered that it's because of the fishing people, and that is why they have tested in different materials. For example, in the boots, the filter it has, it's a really good material to export it, and that was the way they determined it was by that distribution system. So what they are doing now is in some countries prohibiting some materials that do the spread. So yes, they have established that.
Another question from the audience. Seeing that the U.S. is potentially your biggest market, have you anticipated the FDA approval as a market barrier, and have you investigated that process, and how long do you think that would take?
FDA also has approved the main ingredient for food and beverage industries. So the main ingredient is already approved. The way we have to go by is registering a new use. So as we don't understand totally how to do it, that's what we need to complement our team to help us go through the FDA approval. Thank you.